Okay, we're going to go back and talk again about the top three indicators that could predict success for a brand or brand owner.
So one of the top indicators we can tell if somebody is going to be successful is, are they a nice person? Are they a pleasant person to work with? I'm sure that works for them, and why they become successful is because if you're nice, all of your partners around you and the people working for you and with you want to work for you and get more motivated to work for you. So that is actually one indicator we can tell very early on if somebody is going to be successful. Another indicator is, do they have good business acumen? Are they business minded? Have they thought ahead? Are you asking business type questions? Are you thinking about your retail, price? Are you thinking about how many products you want to offer? Those kind of things. For us, we're going to take care of the product. We're going to take care of making sure that product is excellent and it's great quality and it's going to fit great and everything like that. But you as the brand owner, we need you to take care of your business.
We think that people who are more successful than others really understand their market. They have done some research in their market, and they can understand what the end user wants, who the end user is. Maybe they are the end user. You might be someone who is new to this particular developing a clothing product, but you probably understand the market and the need of the user better than we do. So you can really give us some insight and background into the research you've done, and just making sure that you bring us on board with that research.
Great. Is it critical to be located near your development partner or factory?
I'll start. I don't think it's critical. I mean, we work with people all over the country all the time, and we work really well just like this. Computers are great, technology is great. We can do Zoom, we can do Skype, we can do phone calls. Some people do like to come for a visit, maybe just initial kickoff meeting, or maybe closer to the end when we're transitioning from development to production, but it's not necessary.
If you choose a factory that doesn't have like a strong development team and they really are just cut and sew factory, like basically you are being the project manager and you probably have to be on site quite a bit. So, we usually don't recommend going that route with that kind of factory unless you're like a professional apparel designer, because of that, because you really have to kind of catch everything and be at the factory, and be in the same, go there every day. But the way we've got it set up, like Carrie said, I think it works really well to not have people have to be close to us.
Okay, great. Next is what's going on behind the scenes in between prototype deliveries? What's happening?
I can start that. So that's a great question, because I think from a client perspective, sometimes it feels like I haven't heard from them. What are they doing? They're just letting my project sit, and that's just not at all what's happening. Generally, after we have, let's say we've finished the first prototype and we're ready to move on to the second one, generally we'll meet internally to discuss all of the notes and for revisions that we've decided together to make. The pattern maker will work on it, and then we'll proof the pattern internally. And then once that's proofed, then we send it to cutting. So then the cutter is cutting the pieces, and then your design manager is actually checking in at each of those steps. So design managers proof the pattern for you, they proof the cut pieces for you, and then it goes into the sample room, and then they start cutting, they start sewing it. So your design manager is really your advocate. Like we are, we're acting as the brand, and walking the product through each of those steps within the company.
What are the biggest mistakes that you've seen new brand owners make?
So the biggest mistake that I have seen new brand owners make is they get really excited, which is understandable, and they go and buy their fabric in bulk for manufacturing before their product is approved. To explain that a little bit more, a client came into us, their product was done one prototype with another company, and they went and bought 3,000 yards of that fabric because they're excited and they want to get to production. But then once we analyzed the fabric and analyzed the product, it turned out the fabric was not a good fit for what they wanted. So they lose out a lot of money. So I really want everyone to understand it, even though it's very exciting in the beginning, just wait to buy your bulk fabric until you actually have an approved sample. That's my best advice.
It's just understanding timeline. I think that's a big mistake that new people make, is just understanding that it's going to take a couple iterations of your product to get it to that final stage. So we plan on three prototypes. So
It's just the first prototype. You're going to get really excited about it, but you have to understand there's most likely going to be revisions to the first prototype. So just know that that first one is not going to be what you're going to take to the market and ready to sell. You're going to want to build in time to make revisions for it.
One question that that some people ask is, what is a tech pack and why is it important? So a tech pack is essentially an agreement between you and their factory of what you want made. So it describes how you want the product to be put together, and it describes what size you want the product to be. It describes what types of stitches you want. It's a document, it's kind of like a blueprint, but it also is a quality control document that helps you go back in the end and say, hey, I asked for this waistband to be 30 inches around and you made it 29, so therefore I'm not accepting the quality.
How can new brand owners use technology to their advantage and pre-sell?
I've seen this used in terms of what we do as a 3D model image of your product. So a lot of people that I've worked with have done some pre-selling and pre-marketing on their website using 3D images. So you can save the cost of cut and sew, buying fabric, by just making the garment on a 3D avatar. So it's actually the real pattern file, using the properties of the real fabric, the colors, the patterns, everything that you would see in the final garment, but it's done in like a 3D avatar situation. So we've had some success with clients using that in place of a photo shoot with models and actual garments, and doing that on a website so that you can actually get a website up and running, take pre-orders, even do some pre-marketing, all kinds of things like that, done in 3D while you're taking the time to actually develop the product. So the product is still in the stages of, final fit and function analysis, but you have a visual that you can use to do some marketing and some website things. Mm-hmm. I'm going to address another question that we were asked about. It says that we discuss typically 3 prototypes before production, and he's asking if this is in the fabric that they plan to take to market, or muslin samples, or what this involves. So in general, we like to use as close to, or if not the exact end fabric that you will be taking to market. Sometimes there's a case where we have to start with a fabric that's similar. It's not maybe the exact thing, but it's similar properties and will fit and function the same way. And then sometimes we're able to get a fabric that is going to be your end fabric, and we use that through all 3 iterations. But in general, we want to get as close, if not work our way closer to that actual fabric. So by the time you're in the second, and for sure the third prototype, you're using the exact fabrics and trims that you're going to be producing.
I think it really depends on your style. So we, if you're doing a really high-end bridal garment that involves really expensive fabric, and the fabric is a woven, and it's going to perform similar to how muslin would perform, that you're just going to dial and fit, it's okay to use a muslin. Definitely, to save on fabric. But if you have a functional garment that maybe is high stretch, fits by using the negative ease in the fabric, so that means that the fabric is stretching and it's supporting you in some way, or it's compressing in some way, you have to absolutely use the fabric you're going to go to production with. You have to. Our goal is always to dial in that fabric as soon as possible. So it's like you might as well not even, if it's a compression garment and you don't have that fabric, don't even bother trying to fit it, because you can use the same exact pattern with a different fabric and it will feel and function totally differently.
What are some questions a new brand owner should ask a potential development partner or a factory partner?
I'll take this one. I recently had a client come in, and So this is very fresh in my mind, where they had worked with the development partner that was probably very talented, but the wrong partner for their product, and they ended up wasting a lot of time and money. One of the basics of the apparel industry and the basic skill sets are in two different groups, and if you are developing a knit garment, which means it is stretchy for the most part, you want to make sure you're working with a development team and a factory that are used to working with knits. If you're working with a woven garment, you probably want to be with a factory or development team that are used to working with wovens. So to ask that question of your partners, what is your specialty? And does that specialty meet with what you are looking to develop? Believe it or not, it makes a big, big difference. If you're going to do a prom dress line, you don't want to go to an underwear factory. Or, if you're going to do a swimwear line, you don't want to go to a men's button-up shirt factory. So you definitely want to find the skill sets that fall in line with your type of product.
Adding to that, it's not only the skill sets of the people there, because a lot, people in the industry have been in it a long time. They've probably worked with both wovens and both knits, so they have the knowledge. They don't always have the machinery. So certain factories will have machinery that's specific for knits. Like we have a flat lock machine. It's specifically for high stretch apparel, and we know how to use it and use the different threads for it. Versus, if you need an automated welt machine or a pocket, that's like a specific machine that's made for wovens that some factories won't have.
Please feel free, to contact us at info@Clothier Design Source if you have any other questions. We do offer 15-minute free consults, and we can help put together a plan for you and your brand and your line. So thanks again, and have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.